So Tucker Carlson's back. Tucker Carlson's back. He's on Twitter now. Tucker on Twitter. I didn't watch the first episode, but it looks like he's showing the dam that was destroyed in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And
by Russia in Ukraine.
Well, I mean, if you want to go down that road, I already had this put together. You know what? I'll just pull it up. I wasn't going to use this one because I made it and then it kind of pissed me off. But since you want to have that talk, we can have that talk.
You say it like you're about to say they want it to look like Russia did it, but maybe Ukraine did it to themselves.
Collapse of major dam in southern Ukraine triggers emergency as Moscow and Kyiv blame each other. Ukraine blamed Russia for blowing up a crucial dam and power station in southern Ukraine, risking massive flooding for hundreds of thousands of people. But my immediate thought is Biden will probably send more money, billions of dollars for repair and relief.
Huh. Okay. I'm catching what you're throwing. I understand what you're saying, and it seems highly feasible at the moment.
What else? At the moment, debate surrounding Florida's new restrictions. Oh, wait, no, we covered that yesterday. I don't want to go down that road again. But Social Security isn't safe anymore. McCarthy claims debt ceiling raise the end, and the debt ceiling deal hurts Social Security benefits. The one who pays the price down the road will be those pouring money into an underfunded program, and low-income recipients are also hoping to get big payments this month, but we discussed that. There's 2 checks in June. There's no check in July, but it's not really 2 checks.
I'm so confused on how we have enough money to send Ukraine billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, yet our people here have to worry if their Social Security that they've been paying into their entire lives is going to run out before the end of their life.
Our people here have to worry about way more than that, okay?
That's very true.
So I sent Justin a text this morning, and I said, hey, here's your title today. Here's your title, here's your topic, here's your thumbnail.
G.I. Justin.
You know, if you want to know what it's like to be a YouTube coach, then there you go. You know, I hope people make content, build channels or whatever. And oftentimes it's not necessarily a lack of motivation, but it's making content in alignment with the algorithm. But what do we have to worry about besides what you mentioned? Just go on Twitter. Just go on Twitter. It'll show you everything you got to worry about.
Yeah, but half of that stuff's probably not even real. Twitter has been shown to have a lot of false information on it.
There's a video. The first one that pulls up from Clown World shows a guy with what looks to be maybe a Glock 19. And he's driving through this New Orleans neighborhood, and he's just firing it at homes. He's firing at the houses.
And he himself posted that video up, or
somebody posted it. It was recorded, and it was posted, and it looks like on Instagram. It looks like on Instagram, which I can't believe Instagram would allow that to be posted. But either way, it's disturbing. One of the driveways, I thought it was a G-Wagon. It's a Jeep Wrangler. Still an expensive vehicle. But then the comments are saying, is it real?
So that's the first question I have is it real? Because there's so many like skits out there and so many things going on that you just don't know what is.
Somebody says, are they blanks? So, and, you know, you can see the
movie
the action of the Glock. But, you know, are they blanks?
But here's the problem. Blanks or not, you happen to be in one of those houses or on that street or whatever else, and you're in a area where you have a concealed carry or open carry or whatever else, and you see somebody holding up a gun and shooting at.
Real or not, he will be put down.
Real or not, he would be put down. And then my question is, the person who puts him down, then are they in trouble if it turns out those are blanks, and are they a hero if it turns out they're real?
It depends on what state they're in, who they are, what color their skin is, the current legislation.
There's no more clear-cut right and wrong. It all depends on
But then,
agendas and pushes and
those
stuff.
who are making this content, throwing it up, is it to scare people and run them out of the neighborhood?
So,
And is it to create a divide and a push based on what they look like, their skin color, their clothing, whatever you can pull from the video, which isn't much, but it's enough to get people
riled up.
questioning everything?
So I was scrolling through Facebook looking at pictures the family put up from their vacation here, and a Facebook reel popped up, and it's literally without any context whatsoever. I'm like, what in the actual is this? There's a black man like on his knees, execution style, and there's a man behind him holding a gun to the back of his head, and in front of the guy on the ground is his daughter, and the guy that's about to get executed, if you will, is having a conversation with his daughter. And I didn't listen to it. I wanted to watch it first to kind of figure it out. And my first thought is, you are traumatizing this child for a Facebook reel, is my first thought, because that is traumatic to see your father or somebody like that with a gun pointed at them. Number two thought was, anybody driving by this little skit you're putting on that does not know that this is a skit for a Facebook reel, you're about to lose your life unsuspectingly because you're doing something stupid. But then they're like, well, the whole point in the reel is so this father could say these things to his daughter that if he were to get shot doing something stupid or whatever, he would never get the chance to tell her. So the people who have lost their parents or a father figure to gun violence or whatever else, they're like, no, this is a very powerful video for us. And I'm like, over here from the outside, it's a stupid video in a dumb location to do this. You're traumatizing this child. It could have gone completely sideways, all for a Facebook reel.
Well, let's back that up just a little bit. Okay. Let's just say it wasn't in the public. Let's just say it was a movie set. Now, we have seen some very controversial movies created and movie scenes, and they include children. I think even you were watching Shazam.
I was going to bring that up, actually.
And I heard it, and I'm like, well, they got to make these kids say these things. Now, granted, it's acting, but you're still, are you traumatizing that child as well?
Yeah.
And then, speak about traumatization as far as that little boy that's being presented as a little girl on that one guy's channel.
Yeah, I sent you that one.
But it's a problem. It's a problem.
Now, the shooting thing you're talking about with the guys, the video, like he's going around shooting at a neighborhood, you and I and Chris Igo and Ron were actually talking about this yesterday, just having a conversation, and I was saying that it feels like these kind of things that are happening are intentional in certain areas to move people out of certain areas to then make that an undesirable location so something else can come in and pick it up, to take it over. You have all these companies from outside of the United States coming in and buying up land to build their plants, their factories, their whatever else. The easiest way to do that is to find an area that works for them and then make it undesirable for people to want to live in so that they can get it for a better price.
Now, can you explain to me what I'm seeing right here? I got two videos, and I wasn't there. I don't know the full context. There's always three sides to every story. And unfortunately, from the outside looking in, there's almost four sides.
Okay.
There's their side, there's your side, and there's the truth. But now there's the Twitter side, there's the social media side, there's the
Altered
pit
side.
against another side, there's the angle side, there's the artificial intelligence editing Photoshop side.
The kid and I were actually watching something on YouTube yesterday on the TV, and it's basically one of those compilation videos of glitch in the matrix is what it's called, glitch in the matrix. And we're watching these things, and she's going, how? Look, this is real. And I'm like, no, it's not. Anything you're seeing online can be edited. I mean,
I've seen close-up magic. I've seen close-up magic.
I know, it's possible. I mean, you look at any CGI movie out there. I mean, Godzilla isn't real yet. King Kong isn't real, but those things look real. I Am Legend, still the worst CGI in the history of movies. But anyway, there's stuff out there that, it's designed to look real. And just because you're seeing it on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, doesn't mean people with skills aren't putting it together and putting it out there.
Oh, well, there are people who are in special effects that you'll never know who they are. You'll see them on your name on a credit screen, but you don't think that they do this for fun, you know?
I mean, even the makeup stuff. There's people out there doing the before and after, like these women who do before and after, and they put makeup on to make their before look as bad as humanly possible, so that their after looks just absolutely ridiculously whatever.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the biggest problem I have is the fact that I'm in this world,
and it's hard to know.
No. I know. I know what is possible.
Yeah.
That is different from me. For instance, it's like, you know, watching magic, especially if you've seen how it's done, or watching a movie after you've watched how it was made, or going and watching wrestling or something. It's like there's certain things like. Unfortunately, I know how this happens, so it kind of like ruins it. But I also know how this can happen, so it ruins the news and the story that is trying to be shared, because I don't know if I can trust it.
So people will email me stuff all the time. They're like, hey, this happened. Can you talk about this? This happened. Can you talk about this? And I'm like, I understand what you're sending me, but I don't believe it's real.
Oh,
Therefore,
no.
I refuse to talk about it. So I did talk about the 60,000 pounds of a missing ammonium nitrate fertilizer pellets in California. I don't think it ever happened. It never happened. There is no proof that it was ever a real thing. And I said that. I told him that. I said, listen, they want you scared that there's going to be this, people are calling it a false flag event or something like that, this whatever. I'm like, but there's nothing to prove that it was real.
Look, let me tell you right now. The goal behind that is to get you perpetuating a push of misinformation and getting you kicked off, okay? We don't like what she's saying. Well, we can't get rid of her. Well, let's see if we can make her get rid of herself. So a lot of these, I'm sharing this only with you, I don't trust them. And they just want you to do it, to say it, so that you can get taken down, which is part of what I was talking to Justin about, because he had one of his videos striked, but he's got a very, very shocking story to tell today. So make sure you go check out his video. But I can't really believe what I'm seeing here on a variety of different fronts and angles. One of which being a man was arrested for protesting a pride event on a public street in Reading, Pennsylvania. He was reciting a Bible verse, and then he was arrested. And then I didn't watch the video, but I saw the caption of the police officer, and he said, "Let them have their day." The man standing on a street sidewalk in a public street reading the Bible, but the police officer is aggressive towards him, saying, "Let the gay pride thing, let them have their day." He can't have his day too?
Well, then you have to look at it the other way. How often do you drive by the mall and you see people on the corner with these signs of "You're going to hell, Jesus is coming back," screaming at the top of their lungs, all these things, and the police don't do anything? They get to have their day,
but
right?
He got arrested. He got arrested for standing on the sidewalk reading the Bible.
Well, you also see that one little piece. You don't know what happened to lead up into the arrest.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. People are going to jump on that and say, "Oh, so it's okay to be gay, but it's not okay to be religious," is what's going to happen. But you don't know. He could have been threatening people. He could have stood out in the middle of it, tried to cause
That's
an
what I'm
accident.
saying. Like,
you just never know.
So I got to question it. Now, granted, Twitter is supposed to be the home of free speech, and Elon Musk even posted on Twitter, and he says that this platform will provide email addresses of subscribers who opt in to content creators, so that creators are able to leave this platform easily and take their subscribers with them if they want.
I wonder if subscribers like that their information is immediately given to the content creators, because that seems like a whatever of privacy, invasion of privacy, if you will.
But he's definitely taking a jab at YouTube, and he's positioning himself in Twitter to be a place where you want to be, and you don't have to be afraid. Like YouTube, if you drive viewership off the platform,
they ding you. The platform will remove you. They don't want you to have links to anywhere. They don't want you to say anybody else's anything. So when people are like, "Are you on the R one?" I'm like, I'm not going to say it in videos. I'm not going to say any of these other things, because I don't want to be shoved off of a platform.
Yeah, they
for
are
no reason.
And Elon Musk is sitting there saying, "Look, build your subscriber base, and they're yours.
Yeah.
You know, you've worked for this, you've earned this." But then I got another one here, and it says, this was the same one that was the first to post that Gulf pipeline explosion. Raw alerts.
The one that they said that we did it.
Who's to say we didn't? But it says several brawls have broken out outside of a school district meeting over the students' right to choose their pronouns in school. Like, there's people on the ground getting kicked in the head outside of a school.
Is it parents or is it kids?
These are adults. It's in Glendale, California.
You can't call them adults if they're fighting on school grounds. They're parents, but they're not adults.
They may not have kids. I don't know.
That's even worse.
They're not. You said parents or kids, so I go adults versus kids.
You would think that if they're on the school grounds fighting for the right to whatever, they would have children there who are one or the other.
But I keep scrolling because, I'm a glutton for punishment. And I see one that I think is absolutely false. I got one here. It says a mermaid caught on camera. This is epic.
I mean, they have mermaids in the tanks at the aquarium. I mean, they do the whole entire thing and jump in the water and swim around.
It looks like something that would have been in, like, the costume and everything looks like something that would have been in Howard the Duck. It's pretty bad.
Speaking of Howard the Duck, that's on HBO Max, I think. Max, because it's now Max, not HBO Max. It was on yesterday. The kid and I were scrolling through looking for something to watch, and I was like, your dad got me that movie. I think he ordered it from, like, Japan or somewhere. I don't know where you got it from for me, like, 20 years ago. I don't remember if it's for Shits and Giggles, birthday, Christmas.
You mentioned it.
I know.
Yeah.
I mentioned it in passing that I love that movie, and it wasn't for sale anywhere here. And next thing I know, you got it for me. It's when we were friends. We weren't even dating.
That was early in the internet days, but end of the day, it's like anything you want, you can pretty much go get. Really.
Yeah. That was still in the days where you sat around and downloaded songs to burn CDs for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and, somebody left a comment on a video yesterday, and they were like, in my experience, these side hustles, they take a lot to make any money. But it almost seemed like they never tried. So, limiting belief, your call. Do what you want. I don't care. But for those who do want to try, links in the description down below. And I can tell you this, it's Wednesday. We're sitting here.
It's hump day, my dudes.
The hump day, my dudes. We're sitting here on the balcony having this conversation. This is what we do. So if you want to say side hustles don't work, all right, cool. Now this one I thought was fake.
Okay.
I always got to take Twitter with a grain of salt, and then I got to go fact check Twitter somewhere else.
You got to take everything with a grain of salt these days. I see videos on YouTube, and I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but where the hell is your proof to any of it?
Breaking. Mike Pence has filed paperwork to run for president of the United States in 2024.
No, he hasn't. He didn't even want to be vice president. You could tell.
But he did. Oh, but he did.
I guess he probably was hoping that. I mean, it's Chris Christie.
But president isn't one of the Village People costumes, so.
No, he's already done the cowboy and the biker. Now he needs to do
the Native
American.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll go Native American. But they dressed him up like, Let's
just stop talking.
Okay.
Stop talking. And then construction workers. The other one's a construction.
That one's a construction worker. There you go. Day laborer. I don't know how you want to do that one either. But Chris Christie, remember I sent you that breaking news yesterday from, I think it was the Washington Post or the New York Times. It was one of the two, that he actually just entered the race. Of the presidential race. He wants to be the one to take out Trump and take his spot on the ballot.
Crazy stuff. But yeah, so back to this whole Ukraine damn thing.
As far as Giuliani hasn't tried, because
that would be.
But he won't after having that lady in his hotel room.
That would be epic.
Or that child. I don't know if it was a lady or an underage person. I don't remember.
Did Ukraine do this on purpose for the money? The wall of a major dam in southern Ukraine collapsed, triggering floods, endangering Europe's largest nuclear power plant and threatening drinking water supplies. Both sides rushed to evacuate residents and blamed each other for the destruction. The dam break added a stunning new dimension to Russia's war in Ukraine, and now it's 16th month. 16 months. 16 months of this.
16 months of us giving money to Ukraine.
Both, you got to think, who would be more likely to vote for this to continue in 2024?
Ukraine.
So are we going to see like ballots coming in from overseas? But both Russian-controlled and Ukrainian-held land is at risk, and the damage could also hinder Ukraine's counteroffensives in the south and distract its government, while Russia depends on the dam to supply water to Crimea. Total collapse in the dam would wash away much of the broad river's left bank. And a senior advisor to President Vladimir Zelensky said that a global ecological disaster is playing out now. Online, and thousands of animals and ecosystems will be destroyed in the next few hours. I don't know. I don't want to say nothing about that one. Video posted online showed floodwaters inundating a long roadway. Another showed a beaver scurrying for high ground from rising waters.
Here's my question.
Gotta watch those beavers.
You're an idiot. What if the dam just collapsed as they said? The headline does not say was tampered with, was exploded, or whatever else. It says it collapsed. What if all this fighting over the last 16 months, bomb dropping, tanks, whatever else, maybe there's been a earthquake over there. There's been earthquakes all over the place. What if the literal ground has lost some of its stability and the dam literally just collapsed?
I'll tell you what, you guys comment down below. How many billions of dollars do you think Biden will authorize to send for this new problem overseas? And also, how fast will he act to do that?
It is ironic that it happened right as the debt ceiling thing was figured out.
How fast will he act to do that compared to our own needs and debt crisis here in the United States? Jumping ahead here.
Sorry.
But the debt ceiling crisis brought millions of seniors who worried how a potential government default might impact their Social Security benefits. And President Joe Biden has signed a bill to suspend the debt limit through January 1, 2025.
So a whole year and a half.
Wonder why he chose so long.
How do you just suspend a debt ceiling, though? Because that means that there's no cap. You can just print off money and throw it willy-nilly wherever you need it to. Like, I don't know, Ukraine and a collapsed dam.
It's a shell game. With no default imminent, Social Security recipients don't have to stress about their benefits being cut or delayed, or at least for now. Long term, however, there's still a chance that lawmakers will target Social Security for cuts. And that possibility was raised by U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, the key Republican player in debt ceiling negotiations with Biden. And the two sides agreed to cut funding for some federal programs, and Social Security and Medicare could be included. Together account for nearly one-third of the federal budget, a third of the federal budget.
You know where they're not cutting funding? To their own paychecks. It was just a thought I had.
Now, proposals to cut Social Security usually include either lowering payments to beneficiaries or raising the full retirement age. But cutting benefits will be a tough sell because the vast majority of Americans prefer that Social Security be left alone. However, if you had to pick one, would you choose to have Social Security and Medicare in good fiscal shape and able to give you the full benefits you've earned and deserve? Or, option B, door number 2, a smaller, less robust IRS with fewer employees and less ability to fulfill its congressional mandate to collect taxes?
I don't have an answer there.
But you can't have both.
Can't have both.
You cannot have both. And that's the way it is. And the debt ceiling and spending bill makes all this even worse. And if you don't get the connection, apparently neither do the politicians who insist that Social Security and Medicare are off the table.
No question.
As reported numerous times in previous videos, Social Security has been paying out more than it's taking in for a few years now, and the system is bleeding cash so rapidly that come 2035, its guaranteed trust fund is projected to be depleted. And then what happens?
Question.
Social Security payments will be cut by 20%.
I have numerous questions, actually. Number one, Numero uno. How pissed off are people going to be when they've been dinged on their paychecks every single day since they've been working to take out Social Security, and then they can't ever get any of that money back? Working for free for the government. That blows. Second question. What happens January 2nd, 2025 to our economy? Once the debt ceiling thing is whatevered. Complete, just overnight crash? Like just everything goes to absolute shit?
Well, honestly, it depends on how many more devastating blows we take on before then.
I was about to say devastating blows we take on,
that-
because we're not doing it. It's not us that we're taking on these devastating blows for. We're doing it for.
This is an assumption that everything stays the same and or gets better by then. Odds are it will continuously get worse and further diminish.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's great. They're like, we need.
Honestly, you got to think with the current administration and the decisions that they've made, the money that they spent, the choices that this suspension that they put in place, they have no plan.
Mm-hmm.
So our best bet would be to replace them.
So, but then here's the question: you replace them. The sun's getting hot over here. You replace them. Whoever comes in next, they have the next 4 years to try to fix it. But they're coming into a shit show.
Whoever
Who wants that?
comes in next would have to be a Republican. And
Obviously.
then the negotiations are going to be between a Republican president and a Republican Speaker of the House.
Yes.
And
that would make it easier. They're not going to fight each
it
other.
would make it easier, but
isn't that
someone's going to get left. They're going to get bent. Somebody's going to get bent
But isn't
over.
that the most effed up thing in the world, that because we have a Democratic president and Republican House Speaker, that they're basically just whose is bigger, kind of fighting, and it affects the entire country?
Well, I tell you what. It's downright frightening for the tens of millions of citizens who are either heavily or utterly dependent on Social Security to scratch out a modest living. Social Security is 30% of all income for retirees. 37% of men and 42% of women depend on it for at least half their income. And 12% of men and 15% of women depend on it for 90% or more of their income. But where do you think the money comes from? Payroll taxes collected by the IRS, which maybe is a push for 87,000 armed IRS agents so that they can collect the money.
But what's interesting, it comes from payroll taxes, yet places are closing down and there's way less jobs. So do we need 87,000 IRS employees when you have way less people able to work because there's way less businesses in existence and hiring?
It's funny you say that because obviously this is a small sample size, but we went last night to go get Merlin's Pizza and they were short-staffed. They were extremely busy. And they had a new banner outside of all the job positions that they're hiring for and how much they're paying.
Mm-hmm.
But
the pizza's worth the wait.
But after the tourist season dies down,
they don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Because with the tourist season, you have families of 5, 14, whatever, showing up trying to eat in the small restaurant, and there's like an hour and a half wait for pizza, which again, if you ever go to Destin, Florida, it's worth the wait at Merlin's Pizza. But in the winter, you don't have the same tourists, so you don't need the extra cooks. You don't need the extra servers. You don't have to wait. You walk in, you sit down, you get your pizza, you go. You know what I mean? So it is going to be different in every city, in every location. Non-tourist areas, they probably need that steady stuff all the time, but I doubt non-tourist areas are hiring as much as tourist areas are during the year.
Well, it's like if they start hiring these folks and paying them more money, then ultimately payroll taxes are going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And these payroll taxes are collected by the IRS. And then, they go towards, government spending. They go towards these Social Security trust funds, Medicare, unemployment, etc. But get this. Maybe this is why we need these added IRS agents, because currently the IRS misses out on an estimated $470 billion a year because it doesn't have the ability to collect everything that the congressionally mandated tax code says it's allowed to collect.
I have questions. So if that's the case, that would mean that companies are intentionally not paying the taxes that they should pay as a company.
Well, you got to realize that the tax code is very complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So most people pay taxes through their paycheck, through their, weekly, bi-weekly
Sounds
paycheck.
awful, whatever that was.
And when at the end of the year they get the W-2, they do the tax return, they get a refund.
Yeah.
Whereas then businesses, they don't operate necessarily the same way, and they have to pay. But if it was precise, regular employees would never get a refund. So like, it just goes to show you how complicated it is and how imperfect it is, whereas they get a refund, but then the businesses need to pay. But what you have to have is the IRS agents there to filter all the returns and the data to then say, no, you've paid too much, here's your refund, you've paid not enough, you need to pay us.
You know how many celebrities have gone to jail for tax evasion? Wesley Snipes being the first one that comes to mind. It's like, maybe all that money is just the celebrities that are getting paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to, I don't know, act. And then the football players who are paid, and basketball players and baseball players who are paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to play a game. While teachers and firefighters and police and military workers are paid a basic living wage. But anyway.
Well, the question then asks, what about enforcement measures, like you're talking about these folks getting busted? And that figure is after enforcement measures. Even worse, the Treasury Department estimates that this huge figure is probably too low. So you got to think, if they can't collect nearly, $500 billion a year, that's got to have a huge impact negatively on Social Security, trust fund. That's $500 billion a year. That money could help pay our troops.
Really janky over here.
It could help fund cancer research. It could do so many other things and keep fully funding Social Security well into the future. But instead, we're barreling ahead towards big cuts in just a few years. But maybe this is all intentional. Maybe this is on purpose. It's like, oh man, the dam broke. Really?
The damn dam.
Here's some money to fix the problem. Oh man, Social Security's running out of money. Really? Okay, well, let's just cut back benefits by 20%. Cool. Everybody okay with that? Yeah. All right, sign that into law. Oh, look at all this money we found.
Everybody okay with that? No.
We were
Are the
missing
people
out
in
on
Congress okay with that?
$500 billion a year. We found it. Well, you going to give it back? Nah, we've already signed over and reformed Social Security to make it less. So, sorry, guys.
Hate it for you. By the way, inflation's still inflating.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Inflation's still inflatable. But seriously, though, y'all might want to go check out, there's a video in the description, because ultimately there's warnings, not just by us, but by many others, of a secret economic death trap. And your bank account could be next, okay? Breaking news, the collapse has begun. Warning, recession alert, the crash is coming. We have to take the necessary measures to prepare for this, as well as updates on the new $100,000 bill collapse as we move towards CBDC, Fed Now, which is just a few weeks away. Whistleblowers executing in secret closed-door meetings expose banks stealing savings. And, what we should be experiencing is this K-shaped recovery, which is ultimately making some people really, really rich, but making other people really, really poor at the same time. So there's a link in the description for the secret economic death trap. It's a great video. I highly encourage you guys to watch it, because your bank account could be next.
I need to understand what a K-shaped whatever is, because I picture a K, and I picture it being, because they go this way, they go backwards before they go forwards. So I got to look it up.
So basically, the K-shaped recovery it's really just, it's like the alligator mouth. The other part of the letter doesn't matter, the vertical. But basically, as we recover, you're going to see huge increases in wealth and recovery and huge declines at the same time.
Okay.
There won't just be a one-line graph where everyone's moving in the right direction.
That makes sense.
It's a graph where equally, as some are moving in the right direction, others are moving away, and as that gap widens, it'll ultimately wipe out and destroy millions.
Oh, cool. My least favorite letter in the alphabet now. Appreciate it.